Yo people, LSM here. This time to talk about Kimono Shana. She got her third limited banner right after Kimono Asuna, and it's already ending. Sorry for the delay, but there's some things happening on my real life, so I couldn't do before. So let's talk about the waifu in the kimono. First of all, Shana Kimono limited area damage. Let's talk about her exclusive talent. We have Blazing Wings. After using Climax skill, increase the skill damage rate of skill 1 by 90.32%. This scale up to 15, and skill 2 scale up to 25%. So she have the on skill 1 she have the non-limited damage up version of most characters that only reach 15%, and on skill 2 it says that reach 25%. The thing is, her exclusive talent is wrong, and let me tell you why. So some time ago I noticed when I was using her that her exclusive talent had a different description in battle and on the telestab. In the telestab says damage dealt. Can we see here? It says damage dealt. Okay. Damage of skill 1 and damage of skill 2. This is the correct effect. This is the effect it should have. But on battle it says damage rate. This is wrong because it doesn't increase the damage rate of the skill, only the actual damage. So when I reported to the game, I was trying to say that in battle was wrong and the talent tab was right, but they made it worse because they did the opposite. So now Kimono Shana exclusive talent says the wrong thing, because if it was damage rate she would be broken. This would be a crazy effect, very strong, but instead it's only damage dealt, so it's a normal effect to have. Still, it's good, but the condition is after Climax, so in most battles the enemy will not survive her Climax skill. So mostly the character dream that you use her exclusive talent, since the enemies don't have that much HP to survive. Now let's talk about her stats. Kimono Shana is a year 1 character, so her attack stat caps at 2000, and she have almost there. She is missing 12 for the cap at 2000, which is very good for a DPS, and she is very slow, which is excellent before. On Ouroboros meta, you want your Climax character to be fast, but when Kimono Shana released, the slowest that you were, the better. So she was perfect for the old meta things. Nowadays she can work, but you need to make all your things slower than her so that she can spam with Ouroboros and the 7th turn with Kamineko Climax skill. But still, the best statistics in the game are fast, so that's not too hard to do. Now let's talk about her skills. Her first skill, 0 skill point, area bleed, and here we start going to Kimono Shana gimmick. The damage of the skill is very low. This is 129, so it's 30%. It has 30% less scaling than a normal skill point, but it have a bleed effect, and Kimono Shana can stack bleed 5 times, and each stack is 8% of her base attack. This doesn't say here, but it's her base attack, so some damage modifiers will not increase her blade. Only attack increase effects increase her blade skill. Now for her skill 2, we have 4 skill point, area damage. The damage is 404, 405 almost, and if the enemy have 5 stacks of her bleed, it have a skill damage rate increase by 28%. This is also bad wording on crossing void part. This is not an increase of 28%, this is a flat increase. So this is 405 plus 28, we have 433. So it's still weaker than a normal 4 skill point. Now for her Climax skill, 10 Climax point, area bleed, and you would think that it's weaker, is as weak as Shana normal, but this one isn't that weak. For the damage is 865, and the normal damage for a 10 Climax point is 980, so is 100 and some more weaker than a normal 10 Climax point, unlike Shana that have like almost half the damage of a 12 Climax point skill. And the thing is, her Climax skill applies 3 stacks of her blade, so it makes it easier to get all stacks of her skill 2. And don't forget that after using her Climax skill, her exclusive talent will activate, that will make her skill 2 stronger and her skill 1 stronger, but you will not use skill 1 anymore. So what is the deal with Kimono Shana's kit? She wants to get 5 stacks of bleed as soon as possible to start spamming her skill 2. That was she did. So what she did was 2 times skill 1, then on turn 3 she would Climax skill, and on turn 4 till turn 7 she would use skill 2. I forgot to mention because it wasn't relevant before, but her exclusive talents have a duration of 4 rounds. This was whatever, but nowadays it's important for her. So just remind that this only lasts 4 rounds. So if you use it too early, she will not have her buff for Tsundere, the Clepsydra in battle. Now let's see her animations in action. Now let's start with her skill 1. Don't mind that there are 2 bleed stacks, this will make sense later, okay? Now let's go for her skill 2. So I don't have the bonus damage on her skill 2, but the animations are very good. I like her Kimono Shana's animations. Okay, for her Climax, 10 Climax point. So the enemy got 3 stacks of bleed, and they have 5 now. Kimono Shana got her own exclusive talent with the wrong effect, but now her skill 2 should be doing a good amount of damage. But that's it, those are her skills. Now for Kimono Shana cross the skills. First we have 0 for skill point, attack down. This should raise some frags that it will be bad. So the damage is terrible. This is like weaker than a 1 skill point. Yeah, this is weaker than a 1 skill point, 0 skill point, sorry. Weaker than 0 skill point skill. And the attack reduction is good, but something to note here is that the attack reduction effect, it's after the skill ends, which means that when you use this cross skill, Kimono Shana doesn't get the bonus damage of Muramasa if you are using her. Other attack down skills normally do before the damage, so the skill is buffed by Muramasa, but this cross skill doesn't, it's after the damage, so it's even worse. Now we have Miyuki cross skill, 4 skill points, Dispel. The damage is the same damage as a 3 skill point, and you increase the cost by 1 for the Dispel effect. Very standard Dispel, I think it's the only spell that costs 4, but it's a spell, so don't use. And the last one is with Asuna. To be more specific, it is Kimono Asuna. When you use the skill, Kimono Asuna will do the skill animation, not normal Asuna, which is cool in my opinion. I hope they do those things more, where the limited character participates in the skill animation instead of the normal version. So 4 skill point, front damage, and the standard damage of a 4 skill point skill, nothing special, but of her cross skills, this is the best cross that she have. Sadly, it's front damage instead of area, which she would like more, but she have her own gimmick with her blade, so I don't know. I think it's cool that she have the option, but still, let's see her animations now. Starting with 0 cross skill, I have Muramasa here. As you can see, when the enemy have a spellable attack down, which is the thing this skill give, the then can do bonus damage. So she is supposed to shine if the effect is being activated. And as you can see, she didn't shine because the attack down happened only after damage. So when I reach her turn again, okay, when I reach her turn again, you see that everyone don't have attack down anymore because they moved, but when they use the skill, doesn't shine because it's only after the skill ends, which is quite sad because even if the damage is trash, it still would be more damage for her. But let's go to the next cross. Now we have Miyuki cross skill. It's a spell that have 3 skill points in damage. Nothing special, but something to note that for some reason they got bleed. This is not supposed to happen, but let me test this. They shouldn't get a bleed from this. Is Kimono Shana Elementium working, making this? Yes, Kimono Shana Elementium actually breaks her cross skill on the first turn. This is strange. Okay, next. Okay, so turns out that I am monkey and I can't read. This is supposed to happen, yes, because of her Elementium. It has this effect. I just can't read. And that is the Asuna cross skill. Just for it to happen again, if you pay attention here, the character that comes is Kimono Asuna, which is quite cool in my opinion. Very nice detail to have in the game. So next, now for Kimono Shana, let's talk about her Awaken effects. So Awaken 1, when she uses skill 2, when the enemy have 5 stacks, she heals HP, it's useless. Awaken 3, skill 1 have increased damage rate of 12%. You only use the skill like 1 or 2 times, so useless. Awaken 5, her exclusive talent duration increases to 5 turns instead of 4. It was useless before, now it actually have a use, but still it's not worth my opinion. Unless waifu, because the illustration is very beautiful, don't doubt Kimono Shana Awakens. For her Psyche, we have first wish is the Kimono girls with Kuroneko and Misaka. It have defense, which is terrible. They have final damage taken, which is bad, but it have attack and final damage. Sadly, the numbers are on the lower spectrum, but still it's a good Psyche just because it have 2 damage stats. Now, for the first time on any character that we got here, we need to talk about equipment. You see, Kimono Shana on the new year got exclusive equipment for herself, and it's very good, gave a good boost for her. So, what this equipment does is that after using her Climax skill, every time she uses her skill 1 or skill 2, she will detonate her own bleed, and the damage scaling is 300% times the number of turns. And there are some things that I need to talk about this. So to make it easy to understand, let's say that when Kimono Shana have all 5 stacks, she have 5000 bleed. So the equipment says that she does 300% damage. Wait, I tapped the wrong option. So she have 300% damage for her equip. So when she uses skill 2 or skill 1, every enemy will take 15,000 damage times the number of turns. For those that paid attention, Kimono Shana bleed lasts 3 turns. So times 3, which means that she will do 45,000 damage on every enemy. So there are 3 enemies, so she gets 135 damage of her equipment. But there are some things to notice about how her blade works. So let's return to the game. Let's go for her skills. So the equipment works on all of her skills, including cross skills, but her cross skills don't reflect her blade duration, so we don't use with those. So return here. On her skill 1, she gives the blade to the enemy after damage, and on skill 2 she reflects the duration after the damage, which means that when she uses her equipment, what she is doing is actually, we'll return here, the blade duration is not 3, it's actually 2 turns, because she does the refresh after the damage and the explosion happens before the damage. So this is the amount of free damage that she will get with her blade explosion when using skill 2 and skill 3. And the other thing to note is that her Climax skill, it's a little different. I don't know if this is something that all Climax skill have, but all effects that they have here on their attacks happens before damage. So those 3 stacks that Kimono Shana gives to the enemy happens before damage. So when this happens, she also reapplies the blade, which increases the duration to the max. So on her Climax skill, she gets the 300 times 3 for duration for 3 enemies, which is full potential. So when using her Climax skill, her exclusive equipment have a higher boost than using her skill 1 and skill 2. This made her be quite powerful, because not only her skill 2 got a crazy boost, her Climax now had a fixed amount of damage, true damage, for it to be on the same level as a normal 10 Climax skill point. But Tenshiro came and things happened, but we don't talk about that. Now it's time to talk about her Elementium. Her module is Blazing Crimson, Summoned Obstacles. So what does this do? First, let's take a image where everything is maxed. So here we have nothing because something happened. Okay, fixed it. So Blazing Crimson, Surmount Obstacles. It's a wall of text that says that everyone in the team have a blade buff of 45%. It looks high, but if you compare to everything that poor damage have, it is actually very low. So now let's talk about her other effects. Let me scale this. Okay, done. So heads for the battlefield. This is the effect that I didn't read properly. So on the first turn, Kimono Shana, every skill that she uses will give one stack of her True Reason. So if you use her skill 1 on turn 1, she will give 2 stacks instead of 1. And from second turn onward, instead of the extra stack of bleed, she will give 1 climax point every round. This is the same effect that Alice got on her Elementium, but instead of the Osmanto Sting, Kimono Shana have her blade. The victim in the classroom, her climax cost is reduced by 4 points, so it's a 6-point climax skill that deals a good amount of damage. It's the same effect that the normal Shana got on her own climax skill, so nothing unique. Next we have the uncontrollable feeling. After using skill 1, skill 2 or cross skill, Kimono Shana will explode, she will detonate all removable bleed by 12.5%, times the number of turns that each bleed have. So here we start having some synergy with other characters. Let's return to the game. So what about her Elementium alone? So if you pick all of her buffs, Kimono Shana got a speed upgrade, because remember that I said that she was a decrepit dream character of the old meta. Let's build the old thing here for a demonstration. This was the thing that Kimono Shana had when she was meta on the AoE, and what this did was, Kimono Asuna is here to boost damage with her exclusive talent and her wand cross for Alice, and Kimono Shana was the strongest skill 2 in the game, 4 skill points away in the game, and paired with some bonus for Kimono Asuna exclusive talent, she could do crazy amounts of damage. So what she did was skill 1, climax, then skill 2 until the end of the battle. So the battle only had 4 turns of her climax, so her Awaken 5 didn't matter. So now with her Elementium, she have a 6 skill point climax skill and detonates bleed, which changes her team. So now her team looks like this here. We have here, and we need Mikoto to be slower than the robots, if I'm not mistaken. Amy can do that. Yeah, Amy can do that. So now with her Elementium, Kimono Shana is now the third member of the Blade team. And what does this team do? First we have Mikoto here. On her Elementium that I don't have unlocked, she can refresh blade duration, True Judgment if she have a member of for every quartet. If she have a member of the quartet, she can refresh bleed in the team. So Kimono Shana now pairs with Kuroko because the speed match. After robots goes Mikoto, then normal Shana, then Kimono Shana, and you need Kuroko to be in the team so that Mikoto can refresh bleed. So Mikoto refresh bleed, and on her climax skill, she detonates removable bleed for more damage. Remember that Kimono Shana buffs all damage in the team. And now we talk about Shana again. I did her video, so Shana have a big buff for her bleed. She got Climax Reduction, and this is the Climax Reduction, and she increases bleed duration, which that means is Mikoto will refresh the bleeds, which makes Shana Climax a 2-turn bleed and her skill 2 3 turns, and Kimono Shana on bleed is now 4 turns long, which means that her exclusive equipment detonates for even more damage. she detonates Shana's bleed, she detonates Mikoto's bleed, and her skill 2 now gets a crazy boost of damage. And for comparison, someone did the testing on the Discord server because I asked, and he said that Kimono Shana did 700,000 damage with her skill 2. 700,000. That is stronger than 12, at least Climax if she doesn't have any kind of buff. So it's a very strong. But the problem with the team is the team doesn't work that well with Ouroboros because Ouroboros will be here. We will have something on Shana. What can you do? I think that Shana's equip doesn't matter. You can use the best that you have, and we have Ming on Kimono Shana. The thing is, Kimono Shana will use her Climax turn 2, Shana will use turn 3, and Mikoto, that can spam her Climax, will only start using on turn 5, which means that you only get 6 skill points from Ouroboros, and to make it worse, you can only buff Mikoto 2 times because you need at least Awakens 5 because you don't have enough skill points in the battle. So the team suffers from the lack of a battery, and because they are not spamming Ouroboros with Shiro Alice. So even if Kimono Shana deals absurd amount of damage and Mikoto Climax will hit very hard because of the explosion, it's not enough to compete with a team that spam a Shiro boosted Climax every turn. But still, it's a very cool team. I think that the next step on the Blade team will be an impressive weapon because, let's be honest, Blade buff it's terrible. If you summon Shana Elementium and Kimono Shana Elementium, you have more than 100% bonus bleed for Shana, and even then her bleed is the strongest in the game but can't compete because when you go to stats here, bleed is not affected by crit damage. So let's, just for the sake of comparison here, let's pair those two just for the stats. Let me show you the difference that of damage that a bleed team is losing for non-bleed. So we have here Shana and Kuryokihime. They have over 110% crit damage that the bleed doesn't get. So just from the start, poor damage have advantage of crit damage. Not only that, if you go here on impressive weapons, spiritual upgrade, final damage bonus 20%, and the same here on the support, final damage bonus of 20%. This also does not affect bleed, so just out of the gate 150% extra damage for normal skills. Then not only that, if you go here on main, we have here Indra, one of the best impressive weapons in the game. Her effect, where is the effect? Here, no, I am blind. Crit damage for the team. This is thing that bleed will not get, so even worse for bleed. So if you have a max character, like if you go for Awakens 5 on a support, you can see here they have 10% crit damage. So at total, normal damage can reach 200% free damage by itself, while only now that Shana's bleed in specific can only reach 100% bonus damage, which is quite sad in my opinion. And to kill it all, we have this girl here, because her skill is balanced, like almost 100% more damage, because why not? So if you do the math, you see that bleed is losing, Shana's bleed in specific is losing to normal damage for almost 200%. That's quite crazy. But that's it, people. Kimono Shana now is a very fast character. She can use her Climax skill with 6 points, which means that if you have the meta batteries in the game, she can launch her Climax turn 1 for easy nuke, easy farming. She also got faster on her own, because unlike before, her own thing she uses her Climax skill turn 2, which now makes her Awaken 5 have some use, because before she only had 4 rounds of buffed skill 2 on turn 3 onwards. Now she starts on turn 2 and can use her Awaken 5 for max damage. She also have a Climax CP battery for the team, so even if she's not the character that is spamming her own Climax, she's helping. That's it, people. Have a good night, a good day, a good evening.